Very good. Where were you?
And after some numbers. I just got them today. I don't know if
I got all of them today.
So just look at this guy sat on it for a while.
Yeah, this is November 4th.
Oh, I know. It's like it sits in somebody's. See, Alex gets it, Ornstein gets it, and then this one's January 13th.
Good evening. I'm District Secretary Nancy Gamble Hatfield. It's Tuesday, March 4th, 2014, and this is a regular meeting of the Dublin Internet Services District Board of Directors. Presiding this evening is President Von Peter Leopold. Call the meeting to order and please stand and join me in our pledge to the flag.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nancy, roll call, please. Director Benson.
Here.
Director Halkett.
Here.
Director Howard.
Here.
Vice President Duarte.
Here.
President Von Peter Leopold.
Here.
Any special announcements or activities?
Nothing tonight in that category.
Public comment? No member of the public present? Number 6, reports. Report by the general manager and staff.
Yes, President Von Peter Leopold, members of the board, I have a lot of things to go over with you tonight. I'll try to be as brief as I can. Some of these are scheduling, some of these are informational items for you. First is scheduling items, starting with Monday, March 17th. It's a big day here in Dublin, St. Patrick's Day. It's also the date of the annual Dublin Chamber of Commerce St. Patrick's Day Luncheon. If you're interested in attending, please let Nancy know and she can coordinate reservations for you if you'd like. The very next day, March 18th, is of course a DSRSD board meeting, but also staff has been invited to the City of Dublin City Council meeting right after our board meeting. Their council meeting starts at 7 o'clock, of course, to present the situation with regard to the 2014 water supply and our drought planning. It would certainly be appropriate if any of the elected officials wanted to attend. If so, we just need to coordinate that a little bit. Think about how we're going to make the presentation to the City of Dublin, etc. So if you're interested in attending, please let me know, and we'll work on that. Next in chronological order is on March 23rd and 24th, which happens to be a Sunday and a Monday. Aqua's Region 5 is holding their meeting in Santa Cruz. The focus will be on drought planning in Region 5, with a particular emphasis on Santa Cruz. Again, if you're interested in reservations for the event or accommodations to stay overnight there, let Nancy know and we'll make those reservations for you as well. Just a little bit further down the road is March 27th, a Thursday evening. Alameda County Special Districts Association is having its annual dinner at the Marriott Hotel. It's always a very good evening. A lot of elected officials there, good company, and usually a pretty good program. So if you're interested, again, let us know. They're accepting reservations for that. Now I'm going to move into the informational items. We were recently informed by the Special District Leadership Foundation, which is a consortium of Aqua, CASA, and the Special Districts Association of California, that we have been awarded the District Transparency Certificate for Excellence for our dedication to being fully transparent as well as open and accessible to the public and our stakeholders. We don't have the physical facility yet. We hope to arrange to have somebody here present it to you, but I was kind of jazzed by getting that, and I wanted to let you know about that. Special thanks go to Nancy, Sue Stevenson for putting that package together. It was also reviewed by a number of outside people for their input, including Nancy Feely with the Chamber of Commerce, Rich Curry with the Union Sanitary District, and I'm gonna miss his name, but the fellow that's covering our beat for the Pleasanton Express, a newspaper reporter. They all endorsed the efforts the district has been making on that. So it's a minor item, but I'm pretty proud of having gotten that. Next thing I want to do is, let you know, first of all, today we hooked up the recycled water meter for Val Vista Park. I don't know when it will be turned on.
It is turned on right
It
now.
is turned on, so that was a long time in coming. We hope to have more. That was the very first step in that very complicated agreement to make that happen, and it's particularly timely given the drought and what I'm going to tell you about the water supply. So we're real pleased about that. We're looking forward to more recycled water in Pleasanton. I know Pleasanton staff is trying to accelerate the process of getting more customers connected quickly. Wanted to use that as a segue to give you a quick update on the status of the water supply. You've seen a lot of these figures before, so let me bounce through them real quickly. But I think it's important for you as elected officials to kind of understand where we are with, if you talk to some people, it's raining, the drought is on, and the drought is off, and the first sunny day is the start of the next drought. So I'd like to tell you where we are with things. See if I can get this thing turned on. Moving. It doesn't seem to want to work that way. Oh, let me try that. There we go. In terms of, I'm going to go through starting with precipitation, and this is, and I apologize for the fleshed out colors of the graphic. These are screenshots off the Department of Water Resources websites. Precipitation is where we start with. Of course, it's been dry for the last 13 or 14 months. February was slightly above average in terms of precipitation. That's some good news. We now are at 34% of average precipitation for the year. That's gone up because of a couple of storms we had in February and sort of one rainy spell that we're still going through. We are no longer worse than we were during the 76-77 drought, and that's as That's as evidenced by that blue line. The lowest black line you see there is the 76-77 drought period. Of course, rainfall is just demand reduction. Really, water supply is driven by the snowpack. Snowpack is not as good news. The storms we had in February were generally warmer storms, didn't result in a lot of snowpack. We're only about 22% of normal, an improvement from last time I talked to you, which is about 20% of the maximum seasonal amount that we have typically around April 1st. We're still tracking at or slightly below the 76-77 level. And this is data, by the way, as of last night. I mean, this is real-time data from the department. So snowpack is not looking real good. Long-term forecasts have improved. The one up in the upper right is a 30-day forecast. Brown is bad, green is good, white means roll the dice. The weather forecasters don't know if it's going to be above or below average. Last time I showed you that all of California was in brown for a 30-day average. So that's saying March could be average or hopefully maybe even a little bit above average. The 90-day forecast is still showing below average cumulatively for that 90-day period. But keep in mind that the rainy season traditionally ends about the middle of April, so it's really more, I think at this time of the year, we really should start focusing on the 30-day forecast rather than the 90-day forecast. So again, but some good news there. Lake Oroville storage has come up. You'll see the blue line, which represents Oroville storage, is gradually creeping back up. We're now at 41% of capacity at 58% of normal, still below the 76-77 line. The snowpack that little extra snowpack we have gotten has not melted, so it has not found its way to Oroville, although there's been some just runoff into Oroville. Two things to keep in mind about Oroville. The reservoir is now serving about 70% more people than it served in 76-77. So when you see that red line that gradually goes downward, that's a 76-77 line. That was not serving near as many people in the state as we're serving now. And then also that solid red line that goes across, that is the current dead pool. There's two valves on Lake Oroville that are stuck shut, that they cannot open. They cannot basically drain the last 800,000 acre-foot of water from that lake, and they anticipate it'll be 2015 before those valves are repaired. So we have, if you look at it that way, we're closer to the dead pool than we were in 76-77. So that's not a very good picture. The combination of that and, of course, the snowpack is what really drives DWR water delivery allocations. We are hoping that with a wetter March and what happened in February, maybe we can take the edge off the drought by getting some deliveries from DWR. as little as 5 or 10% would help immeasurably, because that would give us access to water that's stored in Kern County. With the pump shut off, we can't get to any of that water. The department chose not to make any changes as of March 1st, so there's still officially a 0% allocation. The thinking is they're probably not going to make any changes in that until May 1st, till the hydrology is all done for the year. Policy level actions taken. This is a chronology of what's already happened, documenting your February 18th action declaring a state of emergency. A few other things, local agencies, everybody has now acted. Livermore asked for a 20% curtailment at their council meeting last week, so everybody is on the 20% curtailment. Cal Water is still using water efficiently. Regional water agency actions, looking a little further afield than what DSRSD and the Tri-Valley are in. Same information as last time. Santa Clara increased their curtailment they're asking for from 10% to 20%. They did that at their meeting 2 weeks ago. Contra Costa Water District still has not taken an action. They were waiting for the Central Valley Project to issue its allocations. The CVP issued those allocations about 10 days ago and basically allocated Contra Costa Water District 50% of the water that they're normally given. They have a fair amount of water stored in Lake Vaqueros as well, so we'll see what their action is. They'll probably get in, my guess is they're going to be in a 10% range for Contra Costa Water District. Upcoming DSRSD actions, again, we're waiting till late April, early May till we know all the facts, but at that time you will be considering what drought stage for water rates that the district should be in and possibly considering mandatory measures, particularly focused on outdoor water use curtailment. That seems to be where the issue will be. Pray for rain. Hopefully we won't have to make those, but I think we're not going to get out of this entirely this year. The question is if we can just take the edge off of it a little bit to make it palatable, because as of a couple weeks ago, it was a pretty desperate situation. I think that's all I have on the water supply. We actually, on the sewer side of our business, we had a sanitary sewer overflow last weekend that was ostensibly caused by some construction debris in a sewer line. I asked Dan to kind of report on that.
Thanks, Bert. Saturday afternoon we got a call, and it was from Syra Drive, which is way out close to the intersection of Fallon Road and Tassajara Road, just inside the county line. It's in a new area under construction. Sewer manhole was overflowing. Our staff responded to it, got it opened up so that it began draining again, and then went back out Saturday and were able to vacuum up all of the water that spilled out of the sewer. It got caught in a retention pond, thankfully, so it did not go into the creek, so we didn't have any release to surface waters, which is a good thing. The blockage was caused by construction debris that was in the sewer. It was actually steel lath and some plaster stuff, which had no business being in a sewer. But in talking with Redora, we learned since then that the sewer has yet to be accepted by the district, so this is still part of a construction area. There are about 12 homes that have been finished out there. To the best we can tell, only 3 or 4 of them are actually occupied, so it's a very, very new area. So we've reported it as a what they call a Category 2 sanitary sewer overflow, but technically it is a private sewer that has overflowed because it hasn't been dedicated to us yet. So.
And the last thing I would notice under correspondence to and from the board, we received, and you should have a copy in front of you, a letter dated February 19th. The letter was addressed jointly to President Von Heater Leopold and myself. It was from Assembly Member Joan Buchanan, basically congratulating the district regarding its transparency certificate from the Special District Leadership Foundation. The last thing I would note is that under agenda management, item 8A is tied to the closed session, and depending on what your deliberations are on the consent calendar, we may or may not need the closed session at the end. And that concludes all my reports.
Okay, thank you. Committee reports, we don't have any on the agenda. Under management, we talked about approval of minutes February 18th.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the minutes of February 18th. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion unanimously carried. Okay, let's move on to item 8, which is the consent calendar. At this point, anyone can remove an item for discussion. If not, these are usually non-controversial items and can be passed and enacted with one motion.
Move approval of 8A through D.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent calendar 8A through 8D. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion unanimously carried, and I assume that then does away with our closed session, right? Okay, item 9A, public hearing, adopt resolution establishing miscellaneous fees, charges, and rescind resolution number 712. Okay. Who's getting this today? It's me, Michelle.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay.
President Bonito, Leopold, and board members, the item you have before you, 9A, is proposal to update the miscellaneous fees. These are done every 2 years. Staff takes a look at the time it takes to do these miscellaneous charges, if you will, and updates them. The staff report that's included in your board packet lays out some of the new ones that are in there and maybe some fee revisions, some new ones that we have. Might be for going out to a customer site. There's also several having to do with recycled water. One is fill station annual permit and a $10 charge for filling up a water truck in anticipation of heading into the summer and possibly using that. One fee revision in there is grease trap inspections. Judy's Avondale come through and try to simplify and make the fee more transparent to users. For the most part, the rates are relatively minor increase, capturing CPI over the last 2 years in effect, and there might be some rounding as fees get moved on in that period of time. Are there any questions on anything?
Anybody have any questions of staff? Okay. You said you had a question?
No, I say it looks like they're
Okay.
basically CPI type of adjustments. I couldn't find anything that stuck out or seemed odd.
Okay, I'll declare the public hearing open. Is there any member of the public that wishes to make any comments?
I move we close the public hearing.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we close the public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion unanimously carried. Okay. Then what is your wish on the action itself?
I'd like to move for approval of item 9A, the miscellaneous fees and charges.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt the resolution regarding fees and charges, resolution number, number 7-12 is the old one. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion unanimously carried. Okay, item 9B is a public hearing. Adopt a resolution for industrial waste program user fees and charges and rescind resolution 908.
So, President Bonito Leopold, board members, this is very similar to the last one you had. These fees in the past were adopted with regional rates, but they are fees that are very similar in nature. We're going to put them on the same 2-year type schedule. In talking to Council Nelson, it was felt that they should be adopted separately as a different basis for them. So what you see in front of you are primarily fees for handling industrial pretreatment and lab fees for people that utilize those services. Again, they're pretty much the same. There were some new fees that were added, same type of increase over time.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of staff?
We do need to, there is 2 typos in there. In Exhibit A, those need to be fixed. On the fee description, significant industrial on both the second and third one.
Thank you.
Is that it?
Declare the public hearing open. Any member of the public? Seeing no member of the public.
I'll move to close public hearing.
I'll second.
So moved and seconded that we close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Okay. I'll entertain a motion for or against the new resolution.
I'll move that we approve the revised.
For a second. It's been moved and seconded that we approve the new resolution regarding fees and charges for industrial waste and rescind resolution 908. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion unanimously carried. Okay. Item 10, board member items. Mr. Halkett.
None tonight.
Dawn?
I would like to report on the CASA conference that I went to, the Legislative Analyst Conference in DC, along with, I went with Redora, so thank you, Redora, for going with us. It was a very interesting, to say the least, conference, and it was my first time going back to DC. And CASA talked about tax-exempt financing, the utility of the future, which seems to be a big topic, Clean Water Act, and then also the qualified appointments to water quality permitting issues. There was several different speakers. We had folks from a gentleman from the political editor at the National Journal. We had roundtables on the different types of federal legislation that's going on. We also spoke with the gentleman, Ornstein. He's the resident scholar at the American Enterprise. And they gave they all talked about the dynamics of Congress and the dynamics of, it just seems like right now it's kind of a stalemate with trying to get anything bipartisan through. So I think our message to the legislators that we actually went to visit on the Hill was to try to bring water as a nonpartisan, try to bring the water issues of California, the recycled water issues, biosolids into something that benefits everybody in California and everybody in the United States. So we went to several House representatives and also the Senate to talk about maybe extending the loan for the Clean Water Clean Water Revolving Fund from 20 to 30 years to 40 years as a better payback for us on big projects. We talked to the biosolids folks one day, and with the coalition, we talked about two projects in particular for DSRSD that we want to for the coalition. And then we also talked about our recycled water projects. So we brought a little bit, on Thursday we went and visited the recycled water. We spoke on behalf of recycled water. And it was very well receptive. I know that staff also went to the EPA and Bureau of Rec and visited more of the regulatory agencies. So I think there's still a little discrepancy on their direction. But it was a very good trip. It was very educational, and there was another project by a John Perry Barlow. He's the managing partner of LG Systems, and it's a LG Systems. It's a very unique process for the future of wastewater that he talked about, and he is promoting this technology, which I thought was really good. So I will give everybody a copy of my notes. And it was, thank you, Redora, again, and also Gary Darling, and because Eric Saperstein was our legislative person, Roberta Larson, and then especially Delta Diablo staff. They did a phenomenal job at helping us with speaking notes. We talked about the recycled water projects throughout. There was a an item here, after this is actually, I thought this was the best. This was an item that they put together for Aqua, Casa, Naqua, and water reuse. It shows all the agencies that we've been able to, did a survey on projects that have recycled water throughout the United States. And so this particular document, along with breaking it out by how many water recycling projects by state, by different members of the House and Senate, this document was well received through every visit we went to, and they were able to actually see how much total funding, how much has been spent, how much is needed, how much was broken out with SRF versus Water Smart Grant versus Title 16. So this document really, every legislative analyst we talked to was very appreciative of the information and the findings of this national survey that was put together. So we were well receptive, and now we just get to see where it goes. So I was an honor to represent you guys, and I was really excited about going. So thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Howard. Mr. Duarte. The only thing I have to report on is I attended the State of the City of Dublin last week, and I don't have my notes with me, but of course Dublin's doing extremely well. Dublin is always doing extremely well. Tim talked a lot about progressive things that they've been trying to do to bring new businesses to town to fill our empty spaces. He still believes that given the Tri-Valley areas in comparison to the other cities, we're still high on the square footage that's rented out. We have a lot of new places. Hobby Lobby, which I'm sure you all have seen the sign, is going to the old Home Expo place finally. And so they're really working on trying to do the infill. There's a lot of new projects. There's 9 projects being worked on out in East Dublin in terms of housing. I forget the exact numbers of houses, but we still have a lot going on, and it's amazing to me. Meanwhile, they're planning the improvement of the cemetery at the Heritage Site, going into phase 2 of the Fallon Sports Park. I sat on a committee over the weekend that picked the artist for the Dublin Swim Center. So I have to say, we have a lot going on, and hopefully the economy won't kick our legs out from underneath us. But of course, Tim had, a glowing report. That's what he's supposed to do. But it was a good meeting. I enjoyed myself. So if there's nothing else, then I'll declare the meeting adjourned.